If I could have your attention, please. At this time, we're going to begin the funeral service here in our chapel for Mr. Bob Gassman. As we begin the service, I would ask if any of you have a cell phone or any other noise-making device, please turn it off at this time. Officiating the service here today is Rabbi Eitan Weiner Kaplow from Shir Hadash Synagogue in Wheeling. And the rabbi will begin the service assisting the family in the ancient tradition of Kriya. If I could ask the family members that are wearing ribbons to gather at the front of the chapel at this time, please.
It's okay. Just join family and join us and family.
Yeah,
family.
You need everybody up here. That's all family.
I understand. Well, we're going to talk about the immediate family.
That's all
Maybe we're all immediate family.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. We're about to begin the funeral service. And this is the moment when we recognize the full reality of our loss. This is the moment when we recognize the tear in our lives. In the past few days since Bob died, we were too busy to mourn. We were too busy to grieve. And there may have even been moments in the last few days where you wondered, why am I not feeling it yet? Why am I so distracted? Well, because we've had to meet with funeral directors and rabbis and make phone calls and work the internet and the emails and the Zoom and FaceTime and Facebook and arrange things at work and get ready. You can't grieve. And that's why in our tradition we recognize that these past few days you were not mourners, you were kind of in limbo. We call it animim. But now is the moment when you become mourners. Now is the moment when you recognize that it's real and that family and friends and community are here to support you. And you're here to support each other. Our tradition teaches that we have to recognize the tear in our lives beyond all the words that we're going to say and beyond all the emails and texts we're going to send each other. We need to do something. And our tradition tells us to tear a ribbon or even the clothing that we're wearing. Our rabbis teach that it's through this tearing of a ribbon that we feel and we hear the reality. We Jews go right to acceptance. We go right there because that's how we begin healing. The blessing that we're going to say now is not about grief or mourning or loss. It's really about acceptance. So I'll ask for you to join with me word by word through the Hebrew, then phrase by phrase in the English. And then we're going to tear these ribbons. So those who'd like to join with me, and Marvin and Harold, I know that you're not present, but you're hopefully watching us, so you're part of this as well. And if you want to tear something at home with us, you may. If you prefer to wait and we can send you one of these ribbons, you can tear it then. Please join with me in the Hebrew. Baruch,
Baruch
Atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Melech HaOlam, Dayan HaEmet. And in English, Holy One of Blessing,
Holy One of Blessing.
Your presence fills creation.
Your presence fills creation.
You are the judge of truth.
You are the judge of truth.
And now I'll invite you to reach up and either from the bottom or the side, tear it about halfway through, and listen to the sound.
On the side.
You can do it.
I can't. I can't do it again.
Oh, she can't do it.
You can do it.
You can help each other get it started.
You've got a hard one.
Well, that's okay. It came off, but that's okay.
Yeah, yours isn't working.
We
Yours
have to
is
get,
broken.
we have to get started.
Someone super glued it.
We got a shot, see if that'll work. Okay. That's part of it. That's part of it. In the traditional Jewish world, we'll wear these ribbons for as long as 30 days, till what's called shloshim. In the liberal Jewish world, we'll wear them perhaps that long, or maybe shorter, maybe as long as we're sitting Shiva, as long as we're receiving calls of condolence. My blessing to you is that healing will come soon. May healing come soon. Let's be seated and we'll begin. כי אלך בגיא צלמוות לו, לא ירא רע. גם כי אלך בגיא צלמוות לו, לא ירא רע. לא ירא רע, לא ירא רע, כי אתה עמדי. לא ירא רע, לא ירא רע, כי אתה עמדי. גם כי אלך בגיא צלמוות, לא ירא רע, כי אתה עמדי. Even though I walk through the valley of the darkest of shadows, I will fear no evil, God, for you are with me. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Dayan ha'emet. Holy One of blessing, your presence fills creation. You are the judge of truth. Adonai natan, v'Adonai lakach, Yehi Shem Adonai mevorach. The Eternal One has given, the Eternal One has taken away. May the name of the Eternal One be blessed. And so we have gathered here this day to remember, to memorialize, to say our farewell to Bob Gassman. And we are saddened and we are grieved. And yet, we're here to give thanks for his life. To give thanks for the wholeness of his life. For his love of family, his sense of humor, his service to our country, for his work, for his Pancake Wednesdays, for the things that he just loved in life and the things that just make us smile. His love, his caring, the family vacations, all of that. There's so much to remember and so much for which to be thankful. And even through the tears, we can find smiles and give thanks through beautiful, beautiful memories. So I'm going to ask everyone who has joined us here today at the chapel and virtually online through Zoom, Facebook, whatever platform you're using, that we come together as a community and as a family. And I ask everyone to join with Bob's family. And it's a big one. It's a big one. You weren't kidding when you said, Rabbi, you'll need extra paper. I have a few sheets of paper. But that's part of the joy. Look at this mishpacha. Look at this abundance of family and community. We join with wife Lynn and with children, David, Ilyse and Lee, Tony and Jennifer, Brad, Bonnie and Tom, Brooke and Mike, Lauren and Michael. And we join with grandchildren, Griffin, Payton, Justin, Tyler, Grace, Shane, Devin, Hannah, Emma, Jacob, Ben, and Lily. We join with sister Linda, brother-in-law Mike, with brothers Marvin and Harold, and with the nephews and the nieces, with Gary, Barry and Heather, and Nikki and Andrew, Jana and Othie, with great-nephew Sam and great-nieces Lily and Mila. Do we get everybody?
Yeah. Lily is really Libby.
Libby.
There's a Libby and a Lily.
Oh,
It's okay.
okay. All right, thank you. Sorry about that. So who's the granddaughter?
Lily.
Lily.
Libby is the great niece.
Great-niece is
Libby.
Livy, Livy.
VY.
Okay, got it. Thank you. All right, we'll correct that. Wow, that's beautiful. Sorry, Livy. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. Look at all these names. Look at all these people. Look at all these souls. Look at all these lives that Bob rejoiced in. Good. It's good. It's good. So we come together as a community of family and friends, as together we remember. Mizmor LeDavid, Adonai ro'i lo echzar, biroteh sheyar bitzeni, al mei menuchot yenahaleini. These words in the Hebrew, they introduce the 23rd Psalm. And for anyone who received a pamphlet when you arrived today, you can find on the inner panel on the left side an English, more modern interpretation of the 23rd Psalm. And I invite you to join with me as we read together these ancient words. They still speak to us today. The Eternal One is my shepherd. I shall never be in need. God makes me to lie down in green pastures, leads me beside the still waters, and restores my soul. You lead me in right paths for the sake of your name. Even when I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You have set a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You have anointed my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Eternal One forever. In the rising of the sun and in its going down, we will remember him. We will remember him. In the rising of the sun, each and every day, we'll remember him. In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter on a day such as today, snow abound, cold, but still the sun shines on the white snow. It is a beautiful day. We will remember him. In the opening of the buds and the rebirth of spring, we will remember him. In the blueness of skies and the warmth of summer, we will remember him. In the rustling of leaves and the beauty of autumn, we will remember him. In the beginning of the year and when it ends, we will remember him. When we are weary and in need of strength, we will remember him. When we are lost and sick at heart, we will remember him. When we have joys we crave to share, we will remember him. And when we have achievements that are based on his, we will remember him. So long as we live, Bob Gassman too will live. For he is now a part of us. He is in our hearts, our minds, our souls, our very being. He's in the way we walk, the way we fold our arms, the way we raise a glass, the way we hold a fork, or just the way we tie our shoes. There's so many similarities that just kind of come to us naturally. He is now a part of us as we remember him. We are an ancient people, and we are well acquainted with grief in the valley of shadows. Death and sorrow are not strangers to us. Yet the centuries have taught us that a good name endures forever, a good name. And so with Job, we say, Adonai Natan, God, you have given. You've given us a loved one who will not be forgotten. And for all that was good and enduring in Bob's life, we offer the deepest thanks of our hearts. Adonai Lakach, God, you have taken away. And so we pray for strength to heal our broken hearts. And then we say, Yehi Shem Adonai Mevorach. Blessed be the name of God. Blessed be the name of the eternal source of life and love. Blessed be the name of the Eternal One, now and forever. So over the years, we've had the chance to celebrate some wonderful, wonderful occasions. Mitzvah, we've celebrated weddings. Now we come together to say our farewell to Bob. You told me how he was born and raised in Chicago, son of Maurice and Pauline, brother to Marvin and Harold and Linda. Bob had lifelong friends. They stuck together. You kept kind of calling them a gang, but I kept hearing you say gang, but not really a gang, but kind of a gang. But I think they were a gang. Yeah, I think so. But that really kind of says that kind of closeness, that bond, that was so very, very special. So special indeed. And these are childhood friendships that lasted forever. Bob and his close friends, they grew up together. Bob went to Von Steuben High School. He enlisted in the Navy at 19 and served on board a cruiser. He was ship's office and administration. He could type, you said. He could type. Okay. And in 1956, his boat, his ship, found its way in the Suez Canal and was there during the 56 campaign. He was right there in the middle of it. Went to Roosevelt University, became a CPA, grew his business, worked at home, was there with the family. You told me how Bob and Lynn met, brought those families all together, 7 kids. Married 42 years. How very special indeed. At this time, I want to call on members of the family to speak and to share your words of memorial. First, I'm going to begin with Lorne and Ilyse, and then Lynn, and then we're going to finish up with all the grandchildren. Okay.
Or just leave this. We hold that. You can do it.
You start.
You can do it.
You start. We're gonna cry. So
It's okay.
We can do it.
all right.
We want to thank everyone for being here, both near and far. We wish we could have all been here in person because God knows Dad deserved that. We're here today to try to speak about our dad, and there are just not enough words to express or capture the essence of who he was and just how much he meant to all of us. But we're going to give it our best shot. I'm Ilyse, or as my father liked to introduce me, the eldest daughter.
And I'm Lauren, the baby, or Lou, and we are speaking on behalf of all of our siblings.
From the time he became a father, his priorities were first and foremost his children. He didn't just say it, he showed it in his actions. Back in the 70s, when fathers' rights were limited, that didn't stop my dad. He fought to break down those barriers, and he showed the world that a father could not only be a primary parent, but he could do it like no other. There was no way to know at the time that our move to Colorado would be the start of a journey that made our family complete. A single father with 4 kids met the love of his life, Lynn. A single mom with 2 kids. And this is where our family story truly began. We got a real mom, and Bonnie and Brooke got a real dad. We became not his kids or her kids, but their kids. Then came the surprise that glued the family together. Whoops. Lauren.
Me! There wasn't anything Dad wouldn't do for us. He wasn't a man of grand gestures, but little things that added up to so much. Whether it was driving through snowstorms to see David wrestle, standing side by side with Ilyse when she needed him most, going to Dad's Day at KU with Tony, where he maybe threw up on a tree, we're not sure. And when Bonnie thought there was a strange sound in her house, Dad Bob was the first car there. Or when Brookie called him Big Fatso, and that became their lifelong joke. For me, there are so many, I can't even get them all out. From piling up the Suburban to go to my softball tournaments, or getting the privilege to work with him every day and get to spend special time going to clients together. His actions spoke so much louder than words. I can't even count the number of people that said they wished that he was their dad, but we were lucky enough to have that be true. That extended to our spouses, who are all special to him in their own ways, who all count themselves lucky to have them as their father-in-law. We know Dad loved us, but it was the grandkids who was his pride and joy. He was born to be a pop. The birth of his first grandson even got him to stop smoking. The kids will never forget pancake day, Sunday night dinners, trips to Toys R Us, and best of all, family vacations. He was always their #1 fan, and at almost every game, concert, and play. His love and generosity didn't stop with his grandkids.
He treated everyone like family. There was always room for one more on Sunday night dinners, and God knows there was always enough food. He helped countless friends and family members whenever and however he could. He treated clients like friends, not just business associates. He had a way of giving you his undivided attention, and he really listened to you whatever you had to say. His kindness and friendly smile will be remembered by everyone that he met. He was a gift to all of us and will be missed beyond belief. His legacy will live on forever in our hearts and minds. He was our rock, our anchor. He was our true north. But this tribute to our father would not be complete without a rhyming poem.
Love poems so much. All right, Dad, here we go. Dad was one of the best. Wonderful husband, father, pa, friend above the rest.
Started every morning with a kiss to his Lynn, then half a cookie and his vitamin.
On the adding machine, his fingers were so fast. And let's not forget, he always had gas.
You would always see Dad Bob driving around town. On his face was never a frown.
We are all so sad that we are now apart. Your legacy will live on in our heart. We love you so much, Dad. And
Love you, Dad.
we're gonna miss you so much. I think we did good. I think we did okay.
You did great.
I'll be okay. I just want to thank everyone here and on the video. Hi, Uncle Blackie. Hi, Uncle Marvin. Hi, my family. Hi, everybody. I want to thank them all for their kind and thoughtful texts, calls, emails, hundreds. There are a few people that I do have a special thanks. Mimi, thank you so much for being there with us, Bob. She loved Bob. She helped with Bob. She was always available for us. Her veterinary skills really came out well. I also want to thank, a big thank you to Roland. Roland came to us 3 years ago when Bob tore his quad tendon. I needed help. I was fortunate to find a wonderful caregiver named Roland. And when Bob, 4 months ago, had to have his knee surgery, I needed help. And Roland said, I will come no matter what. He and Bob had a bond. They were both Navy boys. So they talked about that. They had a very good bond. And we are so grateful for him, for his loving care he gave to Bob, but not only to Bob, but the whole family. I was blessed to be Bob's wife and best friend for over 42 years. Really, it was like 44. We lived in Sen for a couple of years. I will sorely miss him, but feel lucky to have such a wonderful family. One of Bob's favorite sayings that he learned from his dad was, he'd rather laugh than cry. So then, today, we'll be crying today, but a lot of laughter too. Remember the happy, wonderful life of Bob Gassman. Thank you.
Grandchildren.
I think when each of us speak, we're all just going to put a hand on them and make sure that they feel supported. So each of the 12 of us are going to share some memories, stories about Pa and what made him so special to us. The fact of the matter is, as Pa would always say, is that all he cared about was the happiness and well-being of his family. He was the most selfless, caring man I will ever know. Being the oldest of the magnificent 12, I feel so blessed to be able to have spent the amount of time that I did with him. He was everything that I could have ever wanted in a grandfather and more. From the very, very beginning, while my mom was still pregnant with me, he had the strength to quit a nicotine addiction out of the pure love in his heart for his firstborn grandchild. He supported me in everything I did, from youth sports all the way up to helping me with my career path, and always told to me straight, of course prefacing whatever knowledge he was about to drop on me with, the fact of the matter is, Griff. I can hear him in my head now telling me while I was in the batter's box to hit it over third, Griff. Hit it over third. I can also hear his big belly laugh while sitting on the family room sofa watching any litany of raunchy late-night comedies for the first time with me when I was far too young. From my own experience and hearing stories from the family, his patience and understanding of people was unparalleled. He would stay for hours at Toys R Us with me, schmying around every single aisle until I made my final decision, because it made him happy to see me so happy. We are all so blessed to be a part of this giant, loving family he created out of a remarkable love story, and to be able to share so many great moments and go on so many wonderful vacations together with 30-plus people. You could see his face light up and see the joy beaming from him when the whole family was together. Pa will continue to live on through all of us just by being together and loving one another and reminiscing about the countless number of good times we've had with him and the many good times still ahead we have as a family. And that's a matter of fact.
When I think of my grandpa, the first thing I think of is his huge smile and amazing sense of humor. I feel so lucky that I got to be his pizza la pedala. The time I was blessed to spend with him was measured in countless smiles and laughs that I will never forget. Whenever I saw his smiling face, I always knew he was proud of me and that whatever I was doing was good enough. He was so many things to me and our entire family, and it's hard to sum it up in a few words. So here are a few of my favorite things about him. He will always be my favorite comedian, wedding officiant for both humans and Build-A-Bears, sink booty giver, boogie board instructor, high-lie better, internship supervisor, and cowboy. And I will carry that smiling face and laugh with me forever and continue his legacy by finding the humor in everything and making others smile at any and every chance, just like he did. Love you, Pa. Don't worry, I did eat something today.
So, throughout my life, I've always looked up to my patriarch, Pa, Bob. Between growing up with all my cousins and under all my aunts, uncles, and things in between that maybe are called the same things, but family has always come first. He made this very important. Every time that a conflict or anything came up, he would make sure that we knew that. I saw throughout my time growing up in the Gassman family how unique every family is. I saw how TV, movies, books, and songs portrayed family, but I always knew mine was different. Pa created a family full of love, happiness, and everything else you could ever want. And my only goal is to continue building his great family that Bob and Lynn created with all my great cousins in it, all my great family.
When I think of Pa and this family as a whole, I think of our times in Florida and going to the beach with everyone. The beach was probably one of his favorite places, and I remember how much he used to love the sand, getting messy, and jumping over the waves with us. And I also remember that he always carried the meat tenderizer in his bag, because every year someone would get stung by a jellyfish, and we finally learned there was a better solution than getting peed on, so we would just use the meat tenderizer instead. But even when he wasn't on the action, he loved to just sit back and watch us play, because that's the type of guy Pa was. He only wished to just see us together and happy, and that was enough for him. And I will always appreciate how supportive he was of all my dreams. Pa was actually quite a theater fan, and it made me laugh to see how after every show he wanted to hear what I thought of the performance first, because he didn't want to be incorrect. And he loved to watch me perform no matter how long or silly the show was, and him and Grandma were always ready with flowers in hand after every performance. His lively spirit and love for life, of all things, will make me never forget him, and he taught me what a family should look like, and I'm very privileged for that. Love you always, Pa.
I don't remember how it started, but Pa and I had this ongoing inside joke. Since I was in elementary school, every time I saw him, we'd say, "How you's doing?" We'd tell each other how we was doing, and always got a good laugh. This is just one example of how warm, kind, and funny he was throughout his whole life. Everyone who met him could immediately tell how friendly he was. Pa made such an amazing impact on countless people and taught me so much. Just watching the person he was, he taught me about caringness. He taught me about unconditional love. And he showed me that he was an extremely strong, supportive man until the end of his days. I'll forever be grateful for the laughs and love I had the privilege of sharing with him. Thanks for everything, Pa. I'll never, ever forget you. Rest in peace.
Well, whenever I'm remembering Pa, first two things that always come to mind is how he's the nicest, most generous person I've ever met, and he was always a really hard worker. He worked really hard to build this massive, amazing family, and everywhere we'd go, there was always people we'd run into that loved Pa just as much as I would, and they just for like something he did to them or something he did for them, or just for him being the way he was, just so nice and genuine to everyone there was. And yeah, I'll never forget how him and Grandma would always make it their priority to show up to like anything for us, just to support us and be there for us. That'll stick with me forever. And yeah, I'll never forget the pancakes. Obviously, the pancakes are amazing. And yeah, he's just such a caring person, and made everyone just feel special just being with him. So I'll love you so much forever, Pa. Never forget you.
So this is a little something that Tyler wrote. Pa was the kindest and most caring person I've ever met, and I loved every moment I spent with him. Every Wednesday when he would bring us pancakes, Justin, Rosie, and I would always be filled with so much joy and happiness, all due to Pa's big smile and generosity. Pa loved each and every one of us so much. He was such a fantastic influence on everybody he met, and I will truly miss him with all of my heart. I love you so much, Pa. Very beautiful.
From Sunday night dinners to cruise banquets to restaurants in Fort Lauderdale, our giant family was never hard to miss. And for all those happy memories, we can thank Pa. We would have never experienced Cousins Inc. business by the dozen without him. His support and excitement followed me and all the grandkids everywhere. In every soccer game, music concert, art show, etc., I knew I could always look out into the crowd and see his smiling face. If parents on the sidelines were yelling out things in Spanish to their kids on the soccer field, Pa always yelled out random words to me so he could be just as loud as them. Pa was a man with a mission, whether he was accidentally running people over with the electric scooter or speed walking across a street full of traffic to get to Wings while Hannah and I were waiting for the light to change. His spirit, generosity, and love will be with me every day for the rest of my life. So for me and all the grandkids, we love you, Pa. Thank you for everything you've given us.
When I think of Pa, I think of the best grandpa ever. I think of how caring, funny, generous, sweet, and so much more. I remember all the amazing and fun trips he used to take us to. I will never forget going on all of the cruises and going to Surfrider every year and celebrating his birthday. All Pa wanted to see was his family happy, which he succeeded. My favorite memory is hearing Pa's voice saying, "Go Devi," when I'm up to bat at my baseball games. He would try to come to all my games no matter what. It gave me encouragement to do better. I will always think of Pa. Pancake Day was also a very important memory to me. I remember he would always get an extra sausage just like I loved. I'm going to try to keep the tradition going when I have kids and grandkids of my own. Getting to see Pa every week on Pancake Day made me feel extra connected to him. One of my favorite things to do was sleep over at Grandma and Pa's, and me and Pa would always sit down and watch Family Guy on the TV. We would always smile and laugh together. I'm so happy I had so many years to spend with him, and I'll remember him for the rest of my life. Even though Pa isn't with us anymore, he will always be in my heart.
If I were asked right now how to be a good grandpa, I would think of Pa. He would be the first thing that would pop into my head. Pa was kind, thoughtful, caring, and the best grandpa anyone could ask for. All I can remember now is Pa showing up to my soccer games no matter what, even if it was hard for him. I wasn't the only grandchild playing sports, but Pa still made time for me to see my games, and he made time for every single one of us, no matter what. Pa would really get into my games and enjoy it like nothing I've seen before. When any of the parents spoke Spanish, so did he, although he wasn't too good at it. Even if I didn't see him or hear him, I would always know he's there. I could feel his love no matter what, and that's what made Pa so amazing. All that Pa needed was to see me happy or any of his grandchildren happy. When it was family dinner time, all the family could see was Pa sitting at the end of the table with the most amazing smile looking at all of us, and that's what real family love is. So if I were asked right now how to be a good grandpa, I would say I'll just try to be as great as Pa.
When I remember Pa, I think of so many things like starting watching Family Guy on the couch when I think I started when I was like 5, or going on all these big family vacations, which I had such a great time. But one of the things I want to talk about is sneaking him desserts at restaurants when Grandma wouldn't let him have any. I would say something like, "Oh, hey, look, that's my mom outside," and I'd like push some ice cream over to him. Yeah, he'd always come to all my sporting events, and I'd always see him smile from the sidelines. I always knew that the thing he cared about most was his family. I love you, Pa.
Speaking on behalf of Lily. Give me a little. When I think of Pa, I think about how much he cared about everyone. One of the many things I remember about Pa is when we would go to Lucky Fish. We would order clam chowder right when we got there, and he would tell the waiter to dig deep and get all the clams. When we got the soup, we would put bread in it and mix it around. When we got a piece of bread, we would think it was a clam until we ate it and realized they didn't put any clams in the soup. Every time he would ask the waiters, and we would watch them scoop the soup to make sure they were digging deep. I love you, Pa.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you all. Thank you. So these are the things that Bob loved in life. His family, the sports events of all the children, grandchildren supporting them, Pancake Day, Mexico, massages, travel and family vacations. He loved feeding everyone the Sunday night dinners, going to the track, Arlington or Sportsman's. When I asked what are the words that describe the kind of person that Bob was, you said that it was generosity and love, compassion and caring, the great listener that he was, tremendous loyalty and boundless love, funny with a good sense of humor, a happy guy, an optimist who always saw through a rosy lens, and the glass was always half full. His legacy is that Bob lived. He lived life to the fullest. Bob died at the beginning of the Jewish month of Adar. It's our springtime month, which includes the festival of Purim. There's a saying in our tradition, in Hebrew, Shenichnas Adar Marbim Basimcha. When the month of Adar enters, it magnifies our joy. Obviously, we're here at such a sad and mournful and time of grieving. And yet we're recognizing all the beautiful things in Bob's life and the things that he enjoyed so much. The laughter and the tears. Is this the little girl I carry? Is this the little boy at play. I don't remember growing older. When did they? When did she get to be a beauty? When did he grow to be so tall? Wasn't it yesterday when they were small? Sunrise, sunset, sunrise, sunset, swiftly flow the days. Seedlings turn overnight to sunflowers, brightening even as we gaze. Sunrise, sunset, sunrise, sunset, swiftly flow the years. One season following another, laden with happiness and tears. Now is the little boy a bridegroom? Now is the little girl a bride? Under the canopy I see them side by side. Place the gold ring upon her finger. Share the sweet wine and break the glass. Soon the full circle will have come to pass. Sunrise, sunset, sunrise, sunset, swiftly flow the days. Seedlings turn overnight to sunflower, blossoming even as we gaze. Sunrise, sunset, sunrise, sunset, swiftly fly the years. One season following another, laden with happiness and laden with happiness and tears. We will miss you, Bob, and you will always be with us. May your memory always be for a blessing, and may you rest in peace. Amen. At this time, we continue with the chanting of El Malay Rachamim. This is the traditional Jewish blessing which asks that Bob's legacy live on, that his memory live on, and indeed it will live on. It will live on through his countless acts of goodness and loving kindness. It will live on through all the memories, all the pictures, all the stories that we share. El Malei Rachamim, a prayer for Bob's memory and for his legacy. Tradition says that we rise during the chanting of El Malei Rachamim, and so I quickly add that we rise, but if there's anyone present who has difficulty standing, of course you may remain seated. El Malei Rachamim Sholchein Bameromim Ametzei Menucha Nechona Tachat Kanfei Hashchina Im Kedoshim Uteorim Kezohar Harakia Mazirim Et Nishmat Berol Ben Moshe Upeshe Shehalach Liolamo Baal Harachamim Yasnirehu Beseter Kenafav Liolamim Vayithror Bitzror Chayim Et Nishmato Adonai hu nachalato veyanuach b'shalom al mishkavo v'nomar Amen. Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to Bernard, Robert, Gassman, Bob, the son of Maurice and Pauline, who is known in Jewish tradition as Beryl ben Moshe Upeshe, our loved one who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let him find refuge in your eternal presence, and let his soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. For God is his inheritance. May he rest in peace. And let us all say, Amen. You may be seated, everyone. At graveside, we'll be reciting the mourner's Kaddish. And it ends with the words, Oseh Shalom Bimromav. May the one who causes peace to reign in the highest of heavens bring peace to us. To all who mourn, bring healing and peace. Oseh Shalom, Oseh Shalom, Oseh Shalom Bimromav. Oseh Shalom, Oseh Shalom, Oseh Shalom Bimromav. Oya Aseh Shalom, Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. Oya Aseh Shalom. Oseh Shalom, Oseh Shalom, Oseh Shalom Bimromav Ve'imiru. Amen. Ve'imiru.
On behalf of the President of the United States and a grateful nation, I present to you this flag in recognition, thanks, and praise for your husband's service to our country. This concludes the service here in our chapel. The interment will take place immediately at the family's plots at Shalom Memorial Park Cemetery, 1700 West Rand Road in Arlington Heights. For those of you going in procession with the family, the procession will be forming in our parking lot. If you'd please obtain an orange funeral safety sticker. The sticker should be placed in the front passenger side of your windshield. We would also ask that you please have your bright headlights and flashing hazard lights on at all times. For an additional measure of safety, our staff will be placing magnetic flags on the tops of the vehicles throughout the procession. As we drive in the procession, please drive as close as safety permits at all times. We want to avoid having any gaps or spaces in the procession, particularly as we pass through the intersections. For those of you watching the stream live, and for those in person, I want you to know that the family has asked that memorial contributions in Bob's name be made to the Ann and Robert H. Laurie Children's Hospital. For those in attendance, that information's on the inside of the funeral service folder you have. For those of you watching the stream, that information's available on the website you are on right now. One additional note for those of you that are watching the stream of this service, we will engage a stream again from the gravesite to show the interment. However, those of you watching online will be booted off, so to speak, so you'll have to log back in through the same live stream button in about 15 minutes. If you don't see the image, keep trying frequently, and you'll see the image appear as we arrive and establish the link. At this time, I would ask everyone to please rise, that the deceased and his family and rabbi are escorted from the chapel. Thank you. If I could ask the grandchildren to please step forward, we'll escort the deceased to the hearse. Thank you.
Actually, I'm going to follow two by two behind.
Follow behind the Just follow behind the casket until we exit. Just follow behind until we exit.
Lord David Adonai Ro'i Lo Echsal Ina Otesha Yar Vitseni Amen Yuchot Ina Halelina.
Everybody has to say. So good. Really.
לידה היא ראשית ופטירה תכלית. Birth is a beginning and death a destination. But life is a journey, a going, a growing from stage to stage. From childhood to maturity and youth to age. From innocence to awareness and ignorance to knowing. From foolishness to discretion and then perhaps to wisdom. From weakness to strength or strength to weakness and often back again. From health to sickness and back we pray to health again. From offense to forgiveness, from loneliness to love. From joy to gratitude, from pain to compassion. Grief to understanding, from fear to faith. From defeat to defeat to defeat. Until looking backward or ahead, we see that victory lies not at some high place along the way, but in having made the journey stage by stage a sacred pilgrimage. Birth is a beginning and death a destination, but life is a journey, a sacred pilgrimage, made stage by stage from birth to death, to life everlasting. Our bodies are made up of the dust of the universe, and our souls belong to God, the eternal source of all life. As the body of Bob Gassman is laid to rest, we pray to Nishmato Tzrura B'Tzror Hechaim. May his soul be bound up in the bond of eternal life, and may he rest in peace. We place this earth in the grave. It comes from Jerusalem, from the Mount of Olives. Reminds us of the teachings of the prophets of Israel, that in the end of days may we all be together once again in Jerusalem, Yerushalayim, the holy city. The casket has been lowered, and now the vault lid is being placed to protect the casket. Earth from Jerusalem has been placed. Soon we'll be saying the Kaddish. And then immediate family and extended family and friends, anyone present will be invited to place earth in the grave. Our rabbis teach that to be present at the burial of a loved one is considered one of the greatest of mitzvot, one of the greatest of righteous obligations that we can possibly do. Because as strong and as independent as we always hope to be, we simply cannot do burial for ourselves. We come to rely on family and friends. We need to know that Bob will be laid to rest with honor, with dignity and love. How better to know that than if we, his family and friends and community, if we participate in the burial. We place earth in the grave soon. It's not dirt, it's earth. It's holy, it's clean. This is all about seeing to it that Bob Gassman is laid to rest with honor, dignity, and love. Al Mekomo Yavo B'Shalom. May Bernard Robert Gassman, Bob Gassman, come to his eternal home in peace. Those of you who received the pamphlets at the funeral home, you'll find on the back panel the Kaddish. We might have additional copies if you still need them. Otherwise, I'll ask you to share them amongst each other. The Kaddish prayer is the prayer of holiness. And the mourner's Kaddish prayer is the prayer we say now. It is not a prayer about mourning at all. It is not about grief. It is not about sadness. It's not about death. Rather, it's about Chaim, life, and Shalom, peace. We say this prayer because we are here at a cemetery, and in a cemetery, we call this place in Hebrew Beit Chaim, a house of life. The name is on the pillars that we entered over there. For Jews, Halloween makes no sense because we see death as part of life, and it is holy. There's no fear here. There's nothing frightening here because this is a place of life. And we come here to celebrate the lives of beautiful, beautiful people and to give thanks for the wonderful things they did while they were alive and the wonderful things that they passed on to us. And we say the Kaddish prayer. Now, what we are really saying is how much we appreciate life. What we are saying is that life is good and that Bob's life was good. And through these words, we affirm that we will go on into life, bringing Bob's memory, bringing all that he gave us with us unto life. That's why we say Kaddish. I invite those who wish, here and online, to join in reciting these ancient words in affirmation of life itself. Yit gadal ve'yit kadash shemei rabba be'alma divra chirute ve'yamlich malchute be'chayechon uve'yomechon uve'chaye dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala uvizaman kariv ve'imeru. Amen. Yehi Shemei Rabba Mivorach Le'olam Ule'almei Al Maya. Yit Barach Ve'ish Tabach Ve'yit Pa'ar Ve'yit Romam Ve'yit Naseh Ve'yit Hadar Ve'yit Ale Ve'yit Halal Shemei De Kudesha Berich Hu Le'ela Min Kol Birachata V'Shirata Tushbechata ve'nechemata da'amiran ve'alma ve'imru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya ve'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav uya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru. Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn, comfort to all who are bereaved, and let us say, Amen. Lech yishilechacha Adonai, go your way, for God has called you. Lech, v'Adonai yihiyeh imach, go your way, and may God be with you. V'halach lefanecha tzidkecha kvod Adonai ya'asfecha. May your righteousness go before you, Bob, and may the glory of God receive you. At this time, we place earth in the grave. Tradition suggests that we place 3 or more measures of earth into the grave, either with the scoops provided or with our hands if we prefer. 3 or more, because that's the Talmud's way of recognizing that when you do a mitzvah 3 times, it means I am truly here. I am truly present. I am truly focused. I am here to see to it that Bob Gassman will be laid to rest with love and dignity by his family, by his community, by his friends. I invite those who wish to come forward. Let's begin with immediate family, placing 3 or more measures of earth, each measure of earth a token of love, doing for Bob what he can't do for himself, and making sure that it's done right.
Anyone else wishing to participate, please step forward.
So our service soon draws to a conclusion. We've placed earth in the grave, including earth from Jerusalem, and sand from San Diego. How wonderful.
He would have loved that.
Yep.
Or Puerto Vallarta.
And so as our service comes to a conclusion, may our beloved Bob Gassman rest forever in peace. May our loving and merciful God be very near to us as we learn to make our way through life without him. To the immediate family, now that you have fulfilled your obligation for funeral and burial, we recognize that now is the time when healing begins, when Shiva begins. And so I'm going to ask everyone here who wishes, and those online as well, to join with me in reciting the traditional words of condolence and sympathy, speaking them to the mourners. Please repeat after me. May God comfort you. May God comfort with all who mourn. In Zion and Jerusalem. In Zion and in Hebrew we say Hamakom Yenachem Etchem B'toch She'ar Avelei Tzion V'Yerushalayim. In a few moments we'll conclude our service, and as you leave graveside, may you come to know healing, may you come to know peace, may you come to know comfort, may you come to know shalom. So at this point, those who wish can leave graveside. Those who'd like to remain know that we will be filling the grave. It only takes a few more minutes. But the idea is that once the grave is full, we know that everything has been done right and everything is concluded. So you can either remain or leave. It's completely up to you. And if there are any further announcements or anything, then we're good. So we're ready to fill the grave. Thank you. I'd like to express my appreciation to the staff of Chicago Jewish Funerals and the staff here at Shalom Memorial Park. Thank you, everyone, for helping us on this difficult day.
Call us when you get there.
This concludes the service here at the cemetery. For those of you watching on the live stream, we are going to terminate that feed in just a moment. Thank you.